Okay, so whenever you guys are ready.
I'm sharing with you some recipes, some very simple recipes that do have medicinal value, but we want you to make sure that if you do have any health concerns, that you are speaking to a doctor or a healer or whoever you have as your health support at home. And we do, of course, welcome questions as they pertain to what we're doing today. So, syrups. I guess we're gonna get started. All right, so when I was here last time, so Jessica and I, this is our third presentation with you guys. The last one we did more of a sit-down talk about naturopathic medicine, but the first talk we did was about making herbal infusions, so teas, and infused oils, and we made handmade salves. Jessica was online, tuning in, answering all your questions, so I'm really fortunate that we get to be here as a dynamic duo today. So this is a little bit different. This is, making syrups are so easy. We're going to show you 3 different ways to use syrups today, spreading from medicinal to culinary, so used for cooking. And because it's summer, we were originally planning on doing this talk in the fall, where syrups kind of like have their sort of energetic place, but now that we're getting into this super beautiful weather, I mean, I don't know where everybody is, so I apologize if you're on the East Coast. But here in Vancouver, we're having some unseasonably warm temperatures, and so we want to also show you how to make a simple syrup that makes a really great summer drink as well. So making a syrup is a branch of what we call decocting. So I showed you how to infuse, where you make your traditional tea. So you're using a lot of beautiful flowers and leaves, and you simmer that, or you actually just let it sit in hot water, you steep it, and create what we commonly call as a tea. Now, a decoction is traditionally what we use to prepare really hardy materials, so barks and roots and seeds. And it has 2 different places. So the first one is it's used to really extract the medicinal properties out of those really tough parts of the plant that normally wouldn't be extracted in just a traditional sort of steeping form. But also you can use that to actually create a really potent medicine by creating a reduction. And so that's where syrups kind of come in. So you can make a decoction, which is kind of just a strong tea, or you can make a syrup. So that's what we're going to be demonstrating today. And I'm going to let Jessica tell you all about our first project.
So we're going to do the elderberry syrup or the lavender one?
We're going to do the elderberry syrup.
Okay, so we're going to do an elderberry syrup first. We have them, if you can see above, maybe not so much on the projector on that Davina has, but these are the berries of elder, so elderflower. We have quite a few actually native within BC. There's definitely a lot of them within Pemberton area and just like wild in the valley. So these are really, really nice. They're very sweet. The syrup that we're going to be making, saying this out loud, this will eventually be online as a handout for you guys. It's going to be 1 cup of fresh, but since these are dried and they're a little bit more potent, we're doing a ½ cup of dried elderberries. We're going to mix it with 3 cups of water and then add 1 cup of honey, and we'll show that demonstration now.
Perfect. All right, so.
And how much honey?
1 cup.
Okay, 1 cup water, 1 cup honey.
Right here.
Okay, oh, that will help, okay. Are they gonna have access to this?
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
submit something to be posted online after the.
That's very good.
So 1 cup water, Jess? All right, so I just put the 1 cup of water on the stove here to get that starting to boil.
So we got ½ a cup of elderberries. There.
I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a stir. So the one reason why elderberries are really commonly used in syrups, like Jess said, it's for one thing, they're actually a really beautiful flavor, which can be hard to find in medicine. But they're also really, really rich in nutrients. So it's definitely something that in general is quite safe to take on a regular basis throughout the winter. And they're really, really rich in a lot of vitamins and antioxidants. So that's one of the ways that they help keep your immune system supported.
Yes. So do you want to do that?
Maybe while we're waiting for this to come up to a little bit of a simmer, we should talk about where we got our recipes from. So we brought, I don't know if everybody can see this, but we'll lift them up one at a time, but we have a bunch of books here that are our personal favorites. We don't have any affiliations with any of these authors, so these are really coming out of a place that we find to be a great education.
So the recipe that we got specifically was out of this book. That.
So it's homemade remedies from nature's...
It's herbal recipes for vibrant health. It's Rosemary Gladstar's book.
Up to like
Perfect.
I can,
yeah. And I have it on, I'll have it on the handout that we give out too.
Okay.
I feel like Vanna White.
Okay, so that's one book. Another really good book for like North and the Northwest is this book that Elli and I was able to see at the plant gathering or herbal gathering in Vancouver Island. So this one is Boreal Herbal, Wild Food and Medicine Plants of the North by Beverly Gray.
And she does a lot of wildcrafting. So wildcrafting is actually going out to collect and harvest your own medicines from your local environment. So it's a great book, especially if you live up in the Northern Territories, to guide you through collecting, harvesting, sustainability while wildcrafting, which is also really important for us these days.
Yeah. We'll go with this book. So this one is The Herbal Medicine Cabinet, Preparing Natural Remedies at Home by Deborah St. Clair. This is one of the books that was recommended in our herbal or botanical medicine classes, and that was one of them that was recommended for our book list. It's very simple recipes inside, and it goes step by step with how to prepare certain items. Like today we're doing a syrup, so we'll talk about how to make a syrup.
And the camera.
So many cameras.
We have 3 cameras.
3 cameras.
All right, and then the last book that I have, which is one of my personal favorites, just going to the bookstores, this is the Healing Remedies Source Book by C. Norman Shealy. It goes very in depth about folklore, traditions, about essential oils, about herbal remedies, and it's very, very nice just overall.
Oh, it's smelling good. If you guys could only smell it, it's like, wow.
So altogether, when we make a syrup, it takes about 20 minutes altogether for the process with the boiling and the simmering with the honey. And basically what we're going to be doing is the honey is so thick that once it's in that hot water simmering, it's able to become more of a liquid. Makes it very easy to bottle, which we'll show you at the very end.
All right, so Jess, what's the next step? Because we've got our simmering happening now.
We need 1 cup of honey.
Okay, and
So-
we're gonna add that.
So even though it's boiling, the nutrients from the honey aren't dissipating. They don't disappear.
There's so I'm gonna say there's different schools of thought on this.
Yeah.
So some people add the honey after the fact to help preserve some of the natural enzymes occurring in the honey. But no matter what, either way, you're still going to have a medicinal benefit. It's still going to be soothing. It's still going to be coating. And for some people, they do like the fact that they almost pasteurize the honey a little bit if there's any concerns about if you're immunosuppressed, like if you have issues, a compromised immune system, then having a pasteurized honey may actually be to benefit of you. I also want to say too that syrups are a really, really common way of getting medicines into children because they taste so delicious. But keep in mind that in recent years, there has been some concerns with using honey under the age of 1. I know that traditionally, going back to our grandparents and great-grandparents, honey was like a staple for children of any age. But the recent concern is that even in raw, especially in raw honey, that there may be some botulism spores that can live in the honey that as you age, they don't have too much of an impact, but in some babies it can be quite devastating. So just keep that in mind. Like, there's a lot of people who will use them for any age, but I just want to say that we're not advocating using a honey-based product in a child under the age of 1. Okay, so we're gonna measure out. Perfect.
There's so many medicinal facts about honey, and Elli, as a beekeeper, knows all about them.
Oh wow, you're a beekeeper.
I am a beekeeper. This isn't my honey though. I'm saving my honey because my hives are just getting started this year, and I used all my honey as wedding favors last year. So.
How long have you been doing that for?
This is my 2nd year.
Okay.
So the bees are just, and it's a great, despite being so hot, the bees are just going crazy. They're loving it. So no, honey has, it's just such a beautiful natural medicine. Sorry, it's also very sticky, so I'm just gonna keep washing my hands here. It has a lot of great like amino acids and antioxidants. And then it's also super antiseptic and antimicrobial, antibacterial. I mean, there's honeys that have been found preserved for like thousands of years, and the worst thing that happens is it crystallizes. So it's actually, it also makes your syrups last for the whole year. You keep them in the fridge, and it, it kind of is a natural preservative in itself. Some books, like Beverly Gray's book, she recommends adding a bit of brandy to each of her syrups as a sort of an extra preservative. Thank you. But honey in itself is just wonderfully antimicrobial. And the other thing I was going to say, can we do that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And what was I going to say? Sorry, I'm multitasking here.
Well, and the honey too, making sure that's a local source, it has so much effects too in terms of people.
Help you too much, it'll be really soothing for your throat, but it's not going to have that the desensitizing effect.
So
but
more environmental allergies.
and specifically environmental allergies for things that the bees actually visit.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. Actually, I'll just do it up here because we'll be using my
Do you want me to get the other items ready for the second one?
Sure. So why don't you tell them how long we're going to be letting that simmer for now?
Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes altogether. So altogether I said 20 minutes. So we can do another 10 minutes for this. And what we'll do, depending on how you like your syrups, if you want a little bit of berry crunch to it, you can leave the berries in. Will we be demonstrating the cheesecloth?
We'll strain them out, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be using cheesecloth to strain and to squeeze all the essential vitamins and nutrients from the berries, and we'll demonstrate that in a little bit. But we also wanted to show that just some common culinary herbs and just vegetables that are, or even like fruits, that are within your fridge can be also very medicinal. So we're going to be making another syrup that has garlic, ginger, and onion. So I'll start preparing that.
Sure. So basically this one's like the easiest syrup you could possibly make. I made it at 10 o'clock last night, and it took me about 10 minutes. So this is what it looks like after it's been sitting. So this one we're actually going to cook over the stove. So when we're talking about, maybe preserving the integrity of the honey, this is going to be one of those things that no heat's required. So Jessica is going to be demonstrating sort of cutting up some of these vegetables and spices, and then we're going to be packing them in a mason jar. So you're looking at, so this one here is really simple. It's just an onion honey, or an onion syrup, if you will. But you can also add other things. So people also very traditionally use this with garlic. You can make just a straight garlic syrup. You can do a garlic. We're going to do a garlic and onion syrup today. And then ginger is also, it's great for clearing your sinuses. It's warming. It's good for your digestive system. It's good for your immune system. Like, ginger is just an amazing herb. And I actually add ginger to my elderberry syrups. You can add them to your simple syrups that we're going to be making later. And I think we may even add them to our onion syrup. So you can kind of just add it to anything you want. So,
Do you want me to mince this up, or?
no, you can just leave them in strips. So
Okay.
what Jess is going to do is after she's got everything in strips, she's just going to pack that jar full.
So that was half an onion.
Yeah, so the ratio is kind of about like 1 medium onion to about a cup of honey, 3/4 to a cup of honey. Because these onions were so huge, I just used a half, so a half filled up this jar really well. So I figure in this jar we're probably going to do about a jumbo yellow onion, and you want to use like a yellow onion or a red onion. They just have, they're kind of richer in their nutritional value than white onions. And then we can probably add 1 or 2 cloves of garlic and then a little strip of ginger, and that's going to be a really beautiful syrup. So once Jess has got that all prepared in that jar, we're going to pour a cup of honey over top of it. And then we're going to show you what it looks like after it's been sitting overnight.
And how does it taste?
Well, we're all going to taste it. You may need some gum afterwards. I was reading somewhere, a herbalist that teaches us, her notes have, it's called like your grandmother's syrup, and they said that a lot of kids won't even, they may not cough again just because they don't want to try this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any questions so far?
Yeah.
I think it's hard for some people to hear, so we need
okay.
to talk louder. Yeah.
Louder or slower?
Louder? Jessica.
Just me.
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
I've got a booming voice.
She's like, louder, really?
I was like, me? I've never said that before. Yeah, so we really wanted to demonstrate a few things that would be really accessible for most people. So doing this like overnight syrup, these are all foods that you can find in your local grocery store. Onions and garlic are things that you could grow in your garden over the summer, and they keep all year. So we really wanted to demonstrate something that didn't require heat, didn't require refrigeration, foods that you could grow in your own garden. So it's really grassroots. And this syrup's definitely something that's a little bit more acute. You would want to take this sort of when you have like a cough, versus like the elderberry syrup, which is something that you kind of take as a tonifying immune system support throughout the winter.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for this, how much do you normally drink at a time? Like if you're
It would just
putting
be
it in
like
water?
a teaspoon or a tablespoon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. Jess, this is getting really hot. Should I just turn it off? Or are we getting close to the
we're
time?
like 2 minutes or so.
Okay, I'm just gonna turn it off just to let it simmer down.
And so you're using elderberry. Can we use other things like blackberries or any other berries? Or
You could. Elderberries are a little bit some type of herb or fruit or whatever is kind of just the generic recipe. So you could do this with ever. We could be making a ginger syrup right now. We could be making a blackberry syrup right now. I mean, you may even just make it because you want to have it over, your pancakes. So really, we're just demonstrating the process, and you can be really creative with this. Yeah, so we're doing it with a focus on more medicinal value, but rich blackberries, which we actually have here. We brought some blackberries because we're gonna do in our simple syrup. We're gonna do like a blackberry lavender cordial, and so you can the world is whatever you want it to be here.
And online, there's so many different recipes. So literally, your imagination.
So is there a big difference between, I noticed you've got like the main grocery store kind of honey compared to
like a local.
Yeah. Is there a big difference in the nutritional value?
Well, the one that I picked out is actually like a Canadian unpasteurized honey.
Okay.
But I would say that, you know, there's an issue in today's world with this honey adulteration. So not all honey is made equal. There's a problem right now with people basically taking sugar water and it's to make things cheaper. And so I think the most important thing is just getting your honey from a source that you trust, and it's a profession right now that's really struggling because they're trying to compete with a lot of suppliers coming from overseas, and the quality of the honey isn't up to par, and therefore they can't compete with the pricing. So I mean, from an environmental standpoint, from a health standpoint, from a supporting your neighbor standpoint, I think that the more local you can go, the better it is for you. Yeah, and for the
That would be
bees.
something rewarding for a community.
Yes. Yes. No, for sure. And you know, being on my second season of beekeeping, it's actually just the hobby itself is a blast to get into, and it's so rewarding. And I could do an entire segment just on the stuff you get from the hive and what you can do with it. I mean, we showed a little bit about using the beeswax and the salves, but you can make propolis tinctures. You can eat the brood. You can eat the pollen. You can eat the honey, and the honey's medicinal. And there's even bee venom therapies that are arising.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's just like it's a whole
Fantastic.
other world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I just keep getting sticky here.
For somebody who's actually allergic, I usually see a bee like.
Yes.
I know they're very important.
Yes.
But after like, okay, I'm checking out.
Healthy boundaries.
Yeah,
Healthy boundaries.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so we've got everything in there?
Yep.
Okay, so this is, actually I can top this up here with a little bit more. So we've got almost a cup of honey here, which will be just fine. Now, what we're gonna do is we're going to take this jar. Can everybody sort of see from top and bottom there? Can you guys see? So we're taking about, it's almost a cup of honey, but it's really up to you how much you want to use. And we've got our jar packed here with all sorts of just delicious. It actually smells really good. It's onion and garlic and some
Just
ginger.
give us just 1 second.
Yeah.
There we go.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry about that.
All right.
There we go. Okay.
Perfect. So now all we're gonna do is just pour that honey into the jar. And then what this honey is actually going to do is, after sitting for, you want it to sit for at least 6 to 8 hours. I'd recommend overnight, you know, you just let it go until the next day. And it's actually going to draw all of that goodness out of the garlic and the onion, and it's going to actually create, well, we're going to show you what it looks like, so we're going to strain it. It's going to create this sort of magical syrup, all the goodness.
So, and all the sweeteners that we've been talking about so far have been honey, but you're more than welcome to use maple syrup, birch syrup, and vegetable glycerin as other alternatives.
Which some people actually recommend, if you are planning on giving this to a child under the age of 1, you know, consider using one of those alternative sweeteners, because it's going to taste equally as delicious, and then you're not necessarily running the risk of you know, accidentally passing along a botulism spore to your baby. So now we kind of have this thick onion, garlic, ginger packed jar here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to finish this off. So now this is the one that I did last night. So as you can see, well, hopefully, I don't know if you can see actually that well or not. It started out as kind of like this thick onion packed jar, and it turned into almost like this liquidy. You can really see how it drew the liquid out of the onion. I'm not sure if you can see. So this is the one we just packed, and then this is the one from overnight. And you can see how liquidy it is compared to this one. This one doesn't even go anywhere. I'll show you guys too here. So this is the one we just did here. So you can see how thick that honey is and how big those onions still look. And then this is the one that we did last night and how that's changed. this and just keep taking a spoon off the top, but we're gonna strain it today.
Okay, I wondered about that.
Yeah, so what we can do is, we don't even need to use cheesecloth for this because everything's gonna be so thick. Just wanna take all that goodness off. And then you can compost,
You could use that for
or you
cooking.
could use it for cooking. Yeah, you can do
Yeah.
kind of whatever you want with it at that point. Perfect. So, and now that is your medicine. So if we want, we can take a little spoon out of there and taste it if we want to. I think we've got
Measuring.
measuring spoons
Oh, we
there.
might just have, I don't know, we have strings.
You can pour a little bit into each of the cups if you want.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, because we did, that's why we have the cups. Little tasters. And again, you're really just looking at like, just a little bit, like a teaspoon.
Thank you.
Wow. So it smells pretty oniony, not gonna lie.
I'll just take the drops, yeah.
But it actually
yeah.
tastes really good. You know, like it doesn't taste like you're just drinking onion juice.
Yeah, it
It's
tastes
quite
like
sweet.
honey with a little bit of garlic.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's because, so the reason you can use onions or garlic is they actually contain some of the similar properties. Garlic, everybody kind of thinks of garlic as the go-to for immune support. It's extremely antimicrobial.
Yeah.
But onion actually has some of those properties as well, and it's a little bit milder. So adding the garlic to the syrup that we made today is going to make a more potent medicine. All right, should we finish this elderberry?
Yeah.
All right.
As we do that, we're gonna add some lavender to the tea or the water that's boiling. So we're just gonna make a potent culinary syrup. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon to a cup of water.
Just trying to keep organized here.
So that was the
Lavender.
lavender.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I
just the
thought.
flower buds, as you're going to smell it very soon. And basically what we're going to do for this is we're making an infusion or just a very simple tea. What we could do as well if we wanted to add honey to this, which we could probably do right now too. We will add it to just a drink, but as well, especially for mothers who are trying to figure out a way to get medicine to their children. This is a very simple way to reduce and have the honey as a syrup, as a sweetener, and then add it to a popsicle. Popsicles are another really, really good tool for parents to deliver medicines to their children.
That's a great idea.
And especially with the summer heat that we're having right now, it's going to be a very good option.
Oh, and it can smell the lavender. It smells so good.
Yeah, I always, whenever we do these sessions, I'm always really sad that you guys can't be here.
It's the smells.
Alrighty. So while our lavender tea is brewing for our simple syrup that we're going to be making our summer drink out of, we're going to strain our elderberry syrup. So I'm doing it just into a mason jar here. Do we have a question?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, the recipes will be on the website after.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So be careful when you're doing this part. The berries and everything are quite hot, so just be careful that you don't burn yourself. When you're working with the cheesecloth too, you could always use like an elastic band or something to hold it around your jar.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
And maybe you can do it in the sink.
And you can do it in the sink. Yeah, that's an elderberry syrup.
Yeah.
It does stain
Yeah, that's what I
because
was
it's so beautiful. But we're being very careful here today. And Jess wore dark colors. She was smarter than I.
And how much lavender did you put in the water?
Just a tablespoon, and it was to a cup. We're making it very strong.
Okay.
Usually when you make teas or any type of infusion, usually the ratio is 1 teaspoon to 1 cup of boiling water.
Okay.
And there's something else I was going to say about that. Oh yeah, and the simple syrup that Jess is preparing over there, there's a lot of different ways to do that. So some people make the tea first, which is kind of how we're doing it, so that it's kind of a shortcut method. Whereas other people do a simmer similar to what we're doing with the elderberry syrup. So what you're doing here, you could actually be doing here as well, but we just wanted to show you different techniques.
Okay. And so what is the purpose of the tea you're making?
This is just more of a culinary sweet drink. We're going to be adding it to sparkling water afterwards.
Oh.
But lavender itself is just another powerful herb that everybody loves. Just smelling it by aromatherapy, it's very nice, relaxing and calming. Can potentially help with any
Anxiety?
yeah.
Okay.
Or sleep, if you're having a
Yeah.
hard time sleeping, lavender is really beautiful for that too.
But as well, like ingesting it, looking online in terms of other options, is it's a very nice, relaxing, digestive herb to the stomach as well. So even drinking some type of syrup like this after a meal can help allow the smooth flow of the food after eating.
Okay, so we have pretty much everything out of there. We can turn this back burner off, eh?
So these ones I can picture, these two that you've made, I can picture those as gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, easily.
And what about this one with the lavender? Is it more something you make when somebody's there?
This you can still store. So you
Yeah.
can make a big batch of this
Yeah,
and
as a
still store it as a syrup, and it can be given as a gift. You could just have it on hand for if you have company over and you wanted to make like a really beautiful, healthy summer drink. You know, if you don't want to get out all the sugary processed, because you know it's something we're really trying to encourage. You know, we work a lot with people, and whenever we can encourage people to make things themselves and to avoid simple sugars. Okay, so I'm just sort of squeezing the last little bit out here. It's quite hot, so again, when you're doing this yourself, be careful. You can also do it over a big bowl and just string this up to like you're in your kitchen and let it just drip for quite a while. But again, we're just trying to kind of keep things moving here, so. All right. Okay, so that is elderberry syrup. So now it's still quite hot. We're gonna give everybody a little taste of it, but basically at this point, you're good to let it cool down and bottle it. Usually so this is actually one that I made for myself that I brought as well, so people can taste the difference. So this one I made in the fall, made from elderberries, and it also contains ginger, lime, and echinacea. So it's a little bit of a different recipe, but I just thought I'd bring it along so everybody here can test the difference. Plus this is gonna be a little hot, so you're not gonna be able to have quite as much, but you can taste what it's gonna taste like when it's cool as well. So we'll do a little bit of a little taste test here. Let me use a little bit first.
Is there any more questions? Anybody want to make any comments or questions? We'd love to hear from you. Or related to the process today.
How do you make the Labrador medicine into a syrup?
If you want to make it into like a medicinal syrup, it'd be the same ratio, and then you can add more medicinal herbs to it. Like we could easily have done the elderberry syrup and just added the lavender flower buds to the elderberry as it was simmering. So it's all depending on the combination, and that's the beauty of botanical medicine and herbal making, is you get to make it the way that you want to, and obviously up to your taste and your preference, because yourself and whoever you're going to gift it to is going to be the one consuming it.
And then the other thing too is just making sure that you, if you're using plants that we're not talking about today, you know, making sure that you know what plant you are using, that it's safe to be consuming, and then what dosing you should be consuming that plant in, because like we were saying today, like The elderberries are quite safe to take at a low dose every day, but not every plant is going to, some plants are just going to want to take when you need it and take different dosings of that. So, it's good to make sure that you know the medicines that you're working with. So, either make sure you're following recipes out of a published book where people have kind of like they're tried, tested, and true, or work with a local herbalist or a local healer that has a lot of experience with the plants in your area.
Yeah.
And somebody has asked, is it important to note that the blue elderberries that you're using?
Yeah, so this species of elderberry is called Sambucus nigra. So it's the black elderberry, but you can use any beautiful local edible elderberry. So there are local elderberry species that you could use for this as well.
Yeah. There's 3 different types. What commonly is abundant within the valley, and especially in the Pemberton area that I know of, is the Canadian species, which is the red elderberry. There's a white elderberry, and then there's the black elderberry. So they're all edible. They all contain very similar nutrient properties and the vitamin and minerals that we were talking about. So it all depends on your preference again.
Yeah.
And what's available.
In general, a darker or more colorful berry or fruit or vegetable is going to have a little bit more nutrients than one that's void of color. So if I ever have the choice between picking a dark berry or a white berry, also saying that most white berries in nature are poisonous. So aside from that, the darker berries are going to actually contain more antioxidants, which are actually going to be more healthy for you as well.
Yeah. Somebody just asked about the blackberry syrup. Is any water added to it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we will have that recipe online for you afterwards.
Yeah, so the elderberry syrup, just as a recap, so this syrup, we started with water, we added the berries, and then we added the honey. So it's nice and cool, so if you guys wanted to try your syrup, it's
So you've got down
beautifully
here
rich.
3 cups of water, 1
Yes.
cup of honey, and 1 cup of dried elderberries.
half a cup of dried,
Half.
1 cup fresh, because you can use them fresh. And actually this spring, there are local elderberry farms where you can go and you pick elderberries, or if you're in a region that allows you to wildcraft, then you can go and wildcraft fresh berries and make your syrup to last you through the winter. So it's so you can use fresh or dried plants for this. It doesn't matter because the water content, you already have water content in here. It is important though to refrigerate, because even though I said that honey is inherently antimicrobial, when you add water to honey, does anybody know what that gives you over time? It ferments into mead. So you actually, by adding water, you're kind of diluting the antimicrobial effect, and you do leave it potentially open to fermentation. So you do want to keep it in the fridge to avoid having some spontaneous mead happening. And then obviously, if you ever take your syrup out of the fridge and there's mold on it, that medicine is contaminated. So you don't want to be consuming something that's gone moldy. Yeah. Davina, did you have a chance to try your syrup? Yeah?
It's
Is
really
this
good.
mine?
It's really good. That's yours.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is yours. Okay. And then we can.
So are you ready for that?
Yeah, we can strain.
Okay.
Oh, this just tastes like a treat. It tastes like candy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So,
Just use this guy.
sure.
I can picture that on pancakes.
So yeah, so that's the other thing too that I'm trying to create here, is that even with medicinal stuff, we can also make it for culinary. So we can easily make a blueberry syrup and add it to pancakes or add it to drinks. So this is the other option that we were trying to show to the viewers at home.
And how much honey do you need in there?
I already put a little bit of honey
Oh,
as we were chatting.
Cool.
So
Yeah. You want to tell everybody then what? Did you already tell people what you did?
no, because you guys were chatting.
Okay.
All good. So what I did, just because we had the 1 cup, normally when you do 1 cup of water, it's either 2 or 3 cup ratio for the, I'm backtracking. So you want 1 cup of honey to 2 to 3 cups of water. So that's the ratio that we're using. So with the 1 cup of water that we use, I just put 1/3 of honey, just because also for the sweetening effect.
Perfect. Did you want to muddle any blackberries in there, or did you want
Yeah.
to taste it first?
Well, we can do it with the just the syrup by itself with the water.
Oh, so we had a special drink there.
Special drinks. Alright. Can you now take your glass back?
So now what we're gonna make is the culinary drink that you can make easily at home. So we have sparkling water here. You can use plain water if you want as well. Okay, so let's do it.
So this is just water with bubbles.
Yeah, water with bubbles.
And this is really just to your preference. So if you don't find it sweet enough or flavorful enough, you can add more syrup. If you find it too sweet or too strong, add more water.
Picture this, yes, a tall glass with some ice cubes in
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, little berry on top here.
And then you just pour the teaspoon in yours.
Yeah, I don't know. I just poured.
Okay, poured. Let's do teaspoon. I didn't pour any of the other ones. So I think Shannon and I are gonna have a little
We
bit.
already just had elderberry in the bottom of
Yeah,
yours.
so we're gonna have a little bit of elderberry along with the lavender. So we're gonna taste this. I'll stir it up after I pour.
There's just a little bit you're putting in. Yeah.
So you can put as much as you want, and we just want to do like a little bit for effect. By all means, if all of you want any more.
It's so good. It's so good. All right.
If you want more, like obviously we're just doing a little.
I'm adding a little more here, Davina.
For preference. So we'll try this, and then I'll have a few blackberries ready, and we'll put them in, and we'll keep drinking. Our delicious drinks.
It's very fresh tasting.
Yeah, Davina
Fresh.
really likes it.
Yeah, it just runs you fresh and crisp and refreshing.
Throw a couple ice cubes in. And of course, you can make this, we're drinking it as just kind of like a refreshing summer sort of water base, but you can also make this into cocktails too.
Yep. Alright. Gonna add blackberries to yours?
Oh, yes, please.
Alright, and
Yeah.
we'll be cleaning up, but by all means, if there's any questions. You're welcome.
Maybe I'll walk around and I'll show them like.
Oh, yes.
That's my cup you can see through.
Actually, you know what? I'll walk around again with all of our sort of
we
completed
go.
projects here.
And we got over here.
With the, this is the Nisga'a Valley Health Authority CHRs. With the recipes that you have, that you said would be posted, are you also going to include the variations that you can add with those recipes?
Definitely.
We'll include a few ideas, but again, there's so many variations. It's really whatever you want it to be, but we'll definitely include everything that we've done here today, including the lavender with the elderberry, the lavender with the blackberries. We'll include all those variations, but keep in mind that if you wanted to do this recipe using cranberries or raspberries or blueberries or, it's whatever you have on hand, which is the beauty of making simple syrups and medicinal syrups, is they're so flexible.
Are there any more questions or comments about what we've made here today?
Someone would like to know how many blackberries did she use for the mixture?
So for the elderberry, which is the blackberry that we use in that simmering and decoction, it was a half cup of dried or 1 cup of fresh. The blackberries that we physically use in our nice drinks, I just added 2.
Anything else, you guys? Any other comments?
Someone would like to know if water was added to the blackberry syrup.
Yes, and that recipe will be posted. So, just one. Pardon? Say it again.
We couldn't hear you. Could you repeat your question?
We're just wondering, we'd like to order some of the books that you displayed. Can you include that on your handout?
Yes, yeah, we'll include all the
Books that you have?
resources, and I believe all of them can be purchased through Amazon.
So you can order them online. So we'll definitely have the information of the, on the books for you also.
So one last thing that we kind of wanted to end it off with is that both Elli and I are in our 4th years, and so we are student clinicians and actually seeing patients. For those who have attended the September 17th webinar that we did, we actually kind of promoted a clinic that we're working at with specifically First Nations people. We're actually going to put that information back onto the handout again, but we just wanted to say that we've been already working at the clinic for 4 months at Catesy First Nation, and it's been a wonderful experience. And so Catesy has allowed to open its doors to not only Catesy First Nation members, but as well to First Nation members as a whole and to the public secondly. So if you're interested in receiving free naturopathic healthcare, by all means, if you know where Catesy First Nation is, it's on the border of Pitt Meadows and Maple Ridge. We have contact information. There's a phone number that you're able to contact. Elli's on the Wednesday shift, so she actually has a shift in about an hour. That's why I'm going to be taking off.
Yeah.
And I'm on the Friday shift, so we're able to see anywhere from 4 to 6 patients each a day. But along with that, there's also 4 different interns on that shift. So there's lots of space. So by all means.
That's very exciting. That's really exciting.
Yeah, it's been really well received.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So we need to wrap up now. And definitely within the next few days, if you have a look on this website, you're going to find the video, and you're also going to find all the information about the books and the recipes and everything. So thank you so much for joining us. They're going to run as we wrap up, because I need to tell you about some things that are happening. We've got a few more sessions. We're just going to the end of May, but we've got a traditional plant practitioner, Carolyn Victor, and she's going to be here on the 26th. So you can join us again for something similar. May 5th, we're going to have a big one. This is going to actually be out in Langley at the theater, and we're doing this with the Aboriginal program in the Langley School District. There's going to be about 200 Indigenous male youth at the theater. We're going to join them live. We're going to have a panel. Warren Hooley is an Indigenous hip hop artist. He's actually going to be facilitating for us, because it's a guys thing for grade 10 to 12. So please organize it with your school districts. It's a big event. We want to bring all the Indigenous guys together in BC. We're going to have Preston Gano there, Curtis Clear Sky. We're going to have a Quatlan Elder, McCayton, and we're going to have an artist on the side, and I think it's going to be Willie Charlie too. Again, that's on May 5th. On May 10th, we're going to have falls and preventions, and more focusing on our elders. On May 18th, it's going to be bud sprays and lotions, again with naturopathy.
With us! Yes, join us again!
Yes. And then May 24th, we're going to have another session, and that's going to be on co-occurring disorders with Ernie Cardinal again. And our final one is going to be May 26th, and Mark Point is going to be joining us again. Incredible elder and academic. And he's doing his PhD right now in Aboriginal student success, and he's actually going to be focusing on how grandparents can impact positively Aboriginal student success, and it's something he's never talked about before. So that's very exciting. And again, I want to thank the Center for Excellence and Indigenous Health in collaboration in this Indigenous Research Partnership with Faculty of Land and Food Systems for allowing us to be here in the kitchen today and to be able to visit with you. And we look forward to seeing you next week. So thank you again for joining us with video conference and webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you.